my closed Facebook group here for you guys. Please throw me a bone. Patreon.com/Lou Lombardi. Okay. Cult of Personality requested by Jared Grease. What I've been doing, for those of you who are new, maybe just wandering by on the internet, or those of you who are new to the group, what I do is you guys request something. You say, hey, can you talk about this song or this riff? And I do like a little demo of it, and they kind of give you like a little analysis of like where it comes from, what it's about, what's happening with the song. Today's song was a request from Jared Grease. He asked, I ran a post like a month ago, and I've been kind of going through these slowly, saying, hey, throw out a riff at me, and I'll take it apart, and we'll talk about it. And Jared picked Cult of Personality by Living Colour. This is on their from their date. This is the first like big song they had on the radio, big MTV video, 1988. And these guys brought a kind of funky grooviness to hard rock and heavy metal, kind of a urban soulfulness to hard rock and metal. And they introduced the world to the guitarist Vernon Reid, who is, he's just become one of those staple shredders that a lot of guys really like and turn to and really enjoy their music. So that is the sort of lowdown on the band Living Colour. The song Cult of Personality is a kind of a political song, heavy-handed enough in the sense that, I mean, for the type of music it is, it's a hard rock metal song, so it's as heavy-handed as like anything political that like Megadeth would do. Megadeth has done songs that were definitely got political overtones, like Symphony Destruction, songs like that. So this is in that same vein. It's kind of a finger pointing song about sort of like how and the only people we really listen to are people that are are good looking and very popular and have like a great personality, and kind of when you're charismatic kind of people. And we might be not paying attention to people that are really kind of trying to point us in the right direction, but because they're not as dynamic, not as good looking, not as just emotionally stimulating to us, we may ignore what they have to say. I think that's the sort of the gist of the song. As with all great rock tunes and pop tunes and folk tunes or whatever, there is always that element of you putting your own interpretation on it. So feel free to do that. Do not let me tell you what the song means. I'm just kind of giving you one point of view. Let's talk about the riff. That's pretty much the riff. There's a cool chord change. Well, kind of basic chord changes. What we're hearing there is a sort of key modulation. We'll talk about that in a second. And then there is a sort of turnaround riff that happens a few times in the song. That thing, and it kind of ends with a. Now, let's talk about the main riff of the tune. It is based on the main riff. The song is modal, okay, meaning that technically the key is to be. I'll just say it specifically. I think it'll make more sense. Technically, the key is the key of C. However, the resolution is on the G note, which makes it G mixolydian. I'm turning off the Facebook feed over here because I'm seeing it as a delay and it's driving me nuts. I will go back to that in a minute to see if there's any comments or questions. So the resolution is G, even though we're playing all the notes from the key of C. Give me 1 second. With the heat and humidity, you got to run a dehumidifier, but if it kicks on while I'm trying to do a video, it's distracting. So we are technically in the key of C. All these notes are all natural notes. There's no sharps or flats. Get it? G, F, has that resolution of G, but there are no sharps or flats. It is the fifth. It's based around the fifth degree of the C scale, which is the Mixolydian mode. So the song is modal. So therefore, the melody, the notes in the riff, and everything are going to be that way as well. It's a cool like droning thing with the G. It keeps returning. Here. So the G creates a kind of a pedal tone. It's the main chord of the song is a G7. Yeah. So it's just G with the harmony, you know, C, B, D, harmony extended one more to the seventh degree. That is really all there really is to say about that. There is a key change when it goes to the chords. And it depends on how you think of it. You could think of this as a modulation to the key of F, B flat. Then you can modulate this. Think of this as a modulation to the key of G with C. Then there's this very cool descending thing, D over C sharp, C. I'm sorry, let me do this again. It's D. It's not D over C sharp. It's D, C sharp over A. My bad. Or A over C sharp. Guitar players tend to think of this differently. We tend to think of it as, you know, A with a C sharp bass. But technically, it's called A over C sharp because it's based on the piano keyboard, which means you have an A chord over a C sharp bass note. That's where that comes from. And then the next thing is the C. And then the B over G. Or G over B. Let's get those mixed up. Good. That is pretty much the whole freaking song. There's not a whole lot to it. It's kind of got a bluesy thing when he gets into the solo, which I'm not going to even attempt to play. Vernon Reid does not tend to stick real close to any kind of scales and stuff like that. He tends to kind of play like outside of all that stuff a lot. That's just like it's kind of his signature thing. Other guys that are known for Steve Vai will experiment with, you know, trying to step outside chromaticism stuff that's like very much outside of what maybe the chord changes are. The guy though that I think that most people associate playing outside with, and who I think does it in a rock contest the absolute best, the guy that really is able to sort of like play any note on the guitar and make it work. When Vernon does it and when Steve Vai do it, it's very obvious that, okay, we're stepping outside the thing, we're being weird, we're doing something screwy. But when Alan Holdsworth plays like that, he has a way of being able to turn every note on the guitar into an idea that works with whatever chords are being played. He passed away a couple of years ago, and he's been interviewed many, many times, so you can have to go back and look and see if like he ever really kind of discloses his way of doing that. I could do another video on that at another time. But that's kind of what the solo is. It is, you know, just really kind of a lot of zaniness, with some resolutions, loose resolutions here and there around the key of G, around the G7 chord. But guys, that's pretty much it. There isn't a whole lot going on. It is a little tricky to play. And if you want to learn to play, there's some great videos. Ben Eller has a video. I always refer to him, but there's a lot of very cool videos where guys break it down real slow for you. And I'm incorporating some open string notes that Vernon Reid is probably not playing, just because I'm not as good of a guitar player as Vernon, so I'm cheating a little bit. See, I think he goes, and not, I don't think he does the open thing there, but I do it because, you know. Also, I will incorporate some what they call Travis picking, meaning that I will play with the pick and the index finger. So that's what I'm doing here. I don't know if you guys can see. See? some reason, I tend to return to the pick when I play that A thing. And I do pull-offs. I believe that Vernon is alternate picking or economy picking, whatever you want to call it, all the notes. Cult of Personality, Living Color. Let me just pop right over. It's a Saturday afternoon here. Let me pop over and to see if anybody threw any questions or anything. Bill Damiano, nobody jumped in. That's okay. Cool, guys. So enjoy the video. That's my sort of analysis of Cult of Personality by Living Color. If you don't know the song, you need to hear it because it's a bad jam. It is absolutely killer. And all you got to do is, if you don't have Spotify or whatever, just type it into your search on YouTube. And there's multiple videos of them doing it. All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of the weekend. It is hot as balls here in southwestern Pennsylvania. I'm sweating my ass off. I've been in the studio all day, so I am done for the day. This was my last thing. I had a checklist of shit to do, and I'm done. If you like the videos, if you're enjoying the group, you like the podcast, you like the music, please consider throwing me a freaking bone over there on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/LouLombardi. Guys, have a great rest of the weekend.